The lecture hall was enormous. Rows and rows of seats curved upward in a half circle, each one filled with a student from somewhere else in the galaxy. There were beings with feathers that shimmered like oil on water. Others looked like they were made of living crystal, their bodies catching the light and throwing rainbow patterns on the walls. Some students floated in special clear containers, their bodies made of colored gas that swirled and moved. Jordan Chen sat in the middle section, about halfway up. The human looked small compared to many of the other students. Jordan's datapad glowed softly as fingers moved across it, taking notes before the lecture even started. Around the human, alien students chatted with each other in dozens of languages. The translation device in Jordan's ear worked overtime, turning the munlon of sounds into words that made sense. This was Jordan's third week at the university. Getting here had been a long process. Earth had only just joined the Galactic Council 6 months ago. Before that, humans did not even know that aliens existed. Now Jordan sat in a classroom with hundreds of them, studying xenobiology, the science of alien life. Most of the other students had not really noticed the human yet. Jordan looked fairly normal compared to some of the others. 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 head. Nothing too strange. A few students had asked where Jordan was from, and when the human said, Earth, they just nodded politely. The name meant nothing to them. At the front of the massive room, Professor Velthorn prepared the day's materials. The professor was a centaurian, which meant 4 arms instead of 2, and skin covered in silver scales that looked like tiny mirrors. Velthorn was famous across the galaxy for studying dangerous creatures. The professor had written 12 books and visited over 300 worlds. A chime rang through the hall. The talking stopped. Students settled into their seats, and those who floated positioned themselves carefully. Welcome, Professor Velthorn said, voice amplified by the room's systems. Today we begin our unit on apex predators of Deathworlds. The lights dimmed. Above the professor's head, a hologram flickered to life. It showed a planet covered in purple jungle. The image zoomed in, moving through the trees until it showed a creature. The thing was massive. It had 6 legs and a body covered in black armor plating. Its mouth split open to show 3 rows of teeth, each one as long as a human arm. The students gasped. This, Velthorn continued, is the Dreadmaw of Jungle World 7. It can detect the heartbeat of prey from 2 kilometers away. Its armor can withstand plasma fire. It hunts alone and has no natural predators. The hologram showed the creature attacking something. The video was not graphic, but several students still looked away. Jordan watched calmly, taking notes. The lecture continued. Each new hologram showed something worse than the last. There were the Razorbacks of Tundra Prime, pack hunters that worked together like a military unit. They surrounded prey, cut off escape routes, and attacked in waves. The professor showed footage of them taking down something 3 times their size. Then came the Krell of Venom 3. These creatures could spit acid that melted through metal. They also had venom in their claws that paralyzed victims, but kept them alive for days. They prefer their food fresh, Velthorn explained. More students looked uncomfortable. A creature from Deep Dark, a world with no sun, hunted using sound. It screamed at frequencies that burst blood vessels in prey. Another species from a high-gravity world had bones so dense they could smash through concrete walls. Jordan's stylus kept moving across the datapad. The human's face showed interest, but not fear. Around Jordan, other students whispered nervously to each other. These creatures represent the peak of predator evolution, Professor Velthorn said. Each one is perfectly designed to kill. They are efficient, deadly, and nearly impossible to escape once they begin hunting. A student near the front raised a tentacle. Professor, why do we study these creatures? We would never visit such worlds. Knowledge protects us, Velthorn answered. The galaxy is vast. We must understand all forms of life, even dangerous ones. Also, these creatures teach us about evolution, adaptation, and survival. Another hologram appeared. This one showed a planet classification system. Worlds were rated from Class 1 to Class 10 based on how dangerous they were. Class 1 worlds are garden worlds, the professor explained. Mild weather, gentle creatures, abundant food. Most civilized species come from Class 1 or Class 2 worlds. Class 3 and 4 have some dangers, but are manageable. The display changed. Class 5 through 7 are true death worlds. Every creature is dangerous. The environment itself tries to kill you. Class 8 and above are rare. Worlds so hostile that only the most extreme life can exist there. A Lumen student, their crystal body glowing with curiosity, spoke up. Professor, I heard rumors about a new world joining the council. Earth, I think? What class is it? Jordan's stylus stopped moving. The human looked up at the professor with interest. Velthorn waved two of his four hands dismissively. Earth? I reviewed the preliminary reports last month. It is barely a Class 4 death world. The survey team found typical megafauna, large animals, some predators, nothing remarkable. We will cover it briefly in the survey section next week, but it is not worth detailed study. Several students nodded. That made sense. The exciting creatures were all from Class 6 and above worlds. In fact, Velthorn continued, I was surprised Earth was even classified as a death world at all. The dominant species there, humans, I believe, live in large cities, very civilized. They have agriculture, technology, art. Clearly the world cannot be too dangerous if such a peaceful species evolved there. Around the room, students made sounds of agreement in dozens of different ways. Jordan's face remained neutral, but the corner of the human's mouth twitched slightly. It might have been a smile. The lecture moved on to discuss evolutionary pressure. Professor Velthorn explained how extreme danger forced species to develop extreme adaptations. Death worlds create monsters, the professor said, and monsters create survivors. The question is always, which one are you? More holograms appeared, creatures with acid blood, creatures that could regenerate lost limbs, creatures that hunted in the darkness, in the deep water, in the burning deserts, each one more terrifying than the last. Jordan took notes on all of it. The human's hand was steady, and the expression was calm. Around the human, an aviary student's feathers were puffed up in distress. A Nephal's gaseous form had turned a darker shade of purple. Even some of the larger students looked nervous. For next class, Professor Velthorn announced as the lecture wound down, I want you all to research one apex predator and prepare a short presentation. Choose carefully. Some of these creatures are truly the stuff of nightmares. The lights came back up. Students began gathering their materials and talking to each other. Jordan packed the data pad away slowly, listening to the conversations around the human. I cannot imagine facing a dreadmaw, one student said. My species would not last 5 minutes on any of those worlds, another agreed. We are lucky to come from civilized planets, a third added. Jordan stood and filed out with the others, just one more student in a crowd of aliens. But that small smile was back, and this time it lingered a bit longer. The human knew something the others did not, something the professor did not, something the survey team had completely missed. Earth was not a Class 4 death world because it was safe. Earth was classified as Class 4 because the surveyors had never seen a human in actual danger. They had never seen what humans became when they needed to survive. Jordan walked down the hallway toward the exit, already thinking about lunch. Behind the human, students continued to talk about monsters from distant worlds, creatures of fang and claw and venom. Not one of them realized they had just spent 2 hours sitting in a room with something far more dangerous than any dreadmaw. They had been sitting with a human. And humans, Jordan thought with quiet amusement, were persistent predators from a world that had spent millions of years trying to kill them. But there would be time to explain that later. For now, Jordan was just hungry. The garden dome sat at the center of campus. Inside, plants from 100 different worlds grew under carefully controlled conditions. The air was warm and smelled like flowers Jordan did not recognize. Artificial sunlight streamed through the transparent ceiling. Jordan found an empty spot near a fountain where water bubbled up and flowed in strange patterns. The humans' lunch was simple: vegetables, grain, and some kind of protein bar from the campus store. It tasted terrible, but it was food. "Is this seat taken?" Jordan looked up. A Nephil floated nearby, their gaseous form contained in a clear environmental suit. Colors swirled inside, mostly blues and greens today. "No, please sit. Or float, I guess," Jordan said with a smile. The Nephil settled down, hovering just above the bench. "I am Wisp Through Clouds. I sit 2 rows behind you in xenobiology." "Jordan Chen, nice to meet you." 2 more students approached. One was an aviary named Creoc, covered in brown and gold feathers. The other was a centaurian, like Professor Velthorn, but younger and with copper-colored scales. Her name was Zix. "We are forming a study group," Zix explained, settling onto the bench with 4 arms folded neatly. "The class is difficult. Would you like to join us?" Jordan agreed immediately. Studying alone was boring, and the human was curious about the other species anyway. For a while, they ate and talked about normal things: the next assignment, the difficulty of the professor's tests, campus food. Jordan learned that Wisp Through Clouds was from a gas giant planet, that Creoc's people had evolved from flying hunters, and that Zix was studying to become a doctor. Then Creoc brought up the morning's lecture. "Those creatures were terrifying," the aviary said, feathers ruffling. "The Dreadmaw especially. How could anything survive on the same planet as that?" "By being more terrifying," Zix suggested. Wisp Through Clouds shuddered, colors flickering to nervous orange. "I cannot imagine facing any of those creatures. My people have no defenses. We would simply die." "At least you are honest about it," Creoc said, puffing up slightly. "My people evolved alongside flying predators. We know fear, but we also know how to escape. We are fast." The aviary seemed proud of this. Zix nodded along. "What about your world, Jordan?" Wisp Through Clouds asked. "Earth is Class 4, correct? What are the predators like there?" Jordan finished chewing and thought about how to answer. "Well, we have a lot of different ones. The ocean has sharks." "What are sharks?" Zix asked. "Fish. Predatory fish. Some of them get about 6 meters long. They have multiple rows of teeth that replace themselves constantly. If they lose a tooth, a new one moves forward." The others looked interested but not scared yet. 6 meters was not that big. "They hunt by sensing electrical impulses," Jordan continued. "Every living thing gives off tiny electrical signals when their heart beats or muscles move. Sharks can detect that in the water. Some species can smell a single drop of blood in an Olympic-sized pool." "What is Olympic-sized?" Creoc asked. About 50 meters long, 25 meters wide, 2 meters deep. It is a lot of water, and they can smell 1 drop of blood in all of that." Wisp Through Clouds' colors shifted to a cautious yellow. "That is very sensitive." "Oh, sharks are not even the scary ones," Jordan said casually, taking another bite. "Crocodiles are worse. They are ambush predators that hide in water. You cannot see them coming. They grab prey and do this thing called a death roll, where they spin really fast to tear chunks off. They can take down animals twice their size." The group had gone quiet. "There are also box jellyfish," Jordan added. "Tiny things, nearly invisible in water. Their venom can kill a person in minutes. And hippos, they look cute and fat, but they are incredibly aggressive. They kill more humans in Africa than lions do." "Wait," Zex said slowly. "These creatures kill humans? Your own species?" Jordan nodded. "Sure, lots of things on Earth can kill humans. Sharks, crocodiles, hippos, lions, tigers, bears, snakes, spiders, scorpions, jellyfish, mosquitoes." "Mosquitoes?" Creoc asked. "Tiny flying insects. They drink blood. They also carry diseases. Malaria, dengue fever, yellow fever. Mosquitoes have killed more humans than every war in human history combined." The silence was thicker now. Wisp through clouds had turned a pale, frightened white. Your world has flying insects that kill your people? The Nephil asked quietly. Well, not directly. The diseases kill us. The mosquitoes just carry them. Jordan paused. Oh, there are also bullet ants. Their sting is rated as the most painful thing on our pain index. People who get stung say it feels like being shot. The pain lasts for hours. You have a pain index? Zex asked. Yeah, the Schmidt pain index. A scientist let different insects sting him and rated the pain. Bullet ants are at the top. Why would someone do that? Kriach's feathers were flat against the aviary's body now. Jordan shrugged. Science. Are there more? Wisp through clouds asked, though the Nephil sounded like they did not really want to know. Lots more. Parasitic wasps that lay eggs inside other insects and control their minds. Cone snails with venom that paralyzes you. Poison dart frogs with skin toxins. Komodo dragons with mouths full of bacteria that cause deadly infections. Polar bears that hunt across ice. Leopard seals that are ambush predators under ice. Portuguese man-o'-wars that are not even single organisms, but colonies that work together. Jordan was just listing things now, the way someone might list favorite foods. The human did not notice how the others were staring. And that's just wild animals, Jordan continued. Plants can be dangerous too. Giant hogweed burns your skin. Manchineel trees have sap that causes blisters and fruit that can kill you. There is a tree in Australia that causes pain so bad, people have killed themselves after touching it. Australia? Zex whispered. Continent on Earth. It is where we put all the most dangerous animals. Saltwater crocodiles, box jellyfish, funnel web spiders, blue-ringed octopus, inland taipan snakes. Actually, Australia has like 10 of the most venomous snakes on Earth. Kriach found his voice. Jordan, you said these things have killed humans, your own species. How often does this happen? Oh, not that often anymore. We got better at avoiding them, but historically, all the time. That is why we developed tools and weapons and shelters. We had to. Everything on Earth was trying to eat us or poison us or stomp us. But you said Earth is Class 4, Zex said. That is barely a Deathworld rating. Jordan thought about that. Huh. Yeah, I guess the survey team did not see the dangerous parts. They visited cities, right? We do not have many predators in cities. We killed most of them or drove them away. The dangerous stuff is out in the wilderness. You killed them? Wisp through clouds asked. Well, yeah, we had to. It was them or us. Jordan looked at the others and finally noticed their expressions. Is something wrong? Jordan, Kriach said carefully, you are describing a world where everything is trying to kill your species, where you are surrounded by creatures with venom, teeth, claws, and diseases, where tiny insects cause more death than wars. Right, Jordan agreed. And you survived, Zex added. Not just survived. You became the dominant species. You built cities. You developed space travel. You eliminated or drove away creatures that were trying to kill you. Well, we are pretty good at problem solving, Jordan said. The group exchanged glances. They were all thinking the same thing but did not want to say it out loud. Finally, Wisp through clouds spoke in a very small voice. How did you survive? What adaptations does your species have? Adaptations? Jordan considered the question. I guess we are persistent. We do not give up easily. We can run for a long time. We sweat to cool down, which means we can keep going when other animals overheat. Our ancestors used to chase prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. You chase them? Kriach asked. Yeah, persistence hunting. The animal would run away, we would follow. It would rest, we would catch up. It would run again, we would follow. Eventually, it would be too tired to run anymore. Then we would kill it. Zix's scales had gone pale. That is pursuit-predator behavior. I guess so, Jordan said. We also have good stamina. Humans can walk or run for hours. We heal pretty well too. Broken bones fuse back together. Cut skin grows closed. We have survived with organs removed. It takes time, but we recover from a lot of injuries. Regeneration, Wisp Through Clouds whispered. And when we are in danger, our bodies release adrenaline, Jordan continued, warming to the topic. It is a chemical that increases our strength, reduces pain, and makes us think faster. It is like a combat drug, but our bodies make it naturally. The silence stretched out. Jordan finally noticed that all three study partners had moved slightly away. Kriach's feathers were completely flat. Zex's four hands were trembling slightly. Wisp Through Clouds had turned a very pale blue. "Did I say something wrong?" Jordan asked. "No," Kriach said quietly. "You said everything right. That is the problem." "I do not understand." Zex spoke carefully, like someone explaining something to a child. "Jordan, you just described your species as persistence predators with regeneration abilities and natural combat enhancement chemistry. You come from a world full of deadly creatures, and you survive by outlasting them, healing from their attacks, and eventually killing or driving them away. That is not Class 4 behavior." "What class is it?" None of them wanted to answer that. Wisp Through Clouds slowly floated backward, putting more distance between their form and the human. "I think I need to go to the library. I have research to do." The Nephil left quickly. Kriach and Zix made excuses and left too. Jordan sat alone by the fountain, confused. The human looked down at the half-eaten lunch and thought about the conversation. Maybe Jordan should have explained things differently. Maybe it sounded scary when listed all at once like that. But it was all true. Earth did have all those dangerous creatures. Humans had survived them all. Was that really so strange? Jordan packed up the lunch and headed back to the dormitory. Tomorrow there would be another lecture. Maybe things would make more sense then. Behind the human, three very worried students rushed to contact their families and tell them about the terrifying creature pretending to be a peaceful species. And Jordan, completely unaware, thought about what to study for the next test. The lecture hall felt different today. Jordan noticed it immediately. Students who usually sat close to the human had moved to other seats. There were empty spaces around Jordan in all directions, like a circle of emptiness. When the human walked down the aisle, conversations stopped. Eyes followed. Jordan tried not to think about it too much. Maybe everyone just wanted different seats today. Professor Velthorn entered and the room settled down. The lights dimmed for the holograms and the lecture began. "Today we discuss survival adaptations," the professor announced. "How do species live on Deathworlds? What evolutionary advantages allow them to continue when everything around them is trying to kill them?" The first hologram showed a creature that looked like a turtle, but with armor plating that could withstand extreme pressure. It lived on a high-gravity world where atmospheric pressure could crush most beings. Its shell was its survival. Next came a species that hibernated for years at a time, sleeping through the deadly seasons on its world, and only waking when conditions were safe. Another species lived in huge herds, finding safety in numbers. If predators attacked, the weak ones died, but the herd survived. "Evolution is creative," Velthorn explained. "It finds solutions to impossible problems. Every creature you see has been shaped by millions of years of survival pressure. They exist because their ancestors adapted or died." A student near the front raised a tentacle. "Professor, what about intelligence? Does intelligence help survival?" "Good question. Intelligence is expensive. Large brains need lots of energy. But yes, intelligence can be a powerful survival tool. Problem solving, tool use, planning, these allow species to overcome physical limitations." The professor showed examples. A species that built underground cities to escape surface predators. Another that used tools to extract food from dangerous places. A third that had developed chemical weapons from plant compounds. "Intelligence changes the equation," Velthorn said. Instead of evolving armor or claws over millions of years, intelligent species can create them in generations. They adapt faster. The lecture continued through various survival strategies: camouflage, speed, venom, pack hunting. Each one was a different answer to the same question: how do you stay alive? Then Professor Velthorn posed a challenge. Let us do an exercise, the professor said. Imagine you are stranded on a predator-rich world. No technology, no tools, just you and your natural abilities. What advantages does your species have? Who wants to start? Several students volunteered. An aviary stood and explained how flight allowed escape from ground predators. We can reach places others cannot. We can see danger from above and avoid it. A Lumen student described their crystalline structure. We can survive without organic food. Our bodies repair through mineral absorption. Many toxins do not affect us. A Centaurian explained the advantage of 4 arms. We can manipulate our environment better. We can climb while carrying tools. We can fight and defend simultaneously. More students shared, ones who could breathe underwater, ones with natural armor, ones with group telepathy that let them coordinate without sound. Each species had something that helped them survive. Then Professor Velthorn's gaze fell on Jordan. Human Jordan, the professor said. What about your species? What natural advantages do humans have for survival? Jordan stood up. Every eye in the room turned to watch. The human felt the weight of that attention, but tried to ignore it. Well, Jordan began, humans are persistence hunters. We can track prey for days without stopping. Our ancestors would follow injured animals across vast distances. The animal would run, we would follow. It would hide, we would find it. Eventually, it would be too exhausted to continue. The room was very quiet. We can run for hours without rest, Jordan continued. Our bodies cool through sweat. We push liquid through our skin that evaporates and regulates temperature. This means we do not overheat like other animals. We can keep going in heat that would kill other predators. Professor Velthorn's scales had started to pale. The silver was turning to dull gray. But the professor said nothing, so Jordan continued. Humans also have good endurance in general. We can walk 20 or 30 kilometers in a day easily. Some humans can run over 100 kilometers. We do not have the fastest sprint, but we can maintain pace for longer than almost any other Earth species. A student made a sound like a whimper. Jordan did not notice. We have good healing abilities. Broken bones will fuse back together if we keep them still. Torn muscles regenerate. Cut skin grows closed and forms scar tissue. We can survive with organs removed, one kidney, part of the liver, even sections of the brain. Our healing is not fast, but it is comprehensive. Zix, sitting several rows away, had all 4 hands gripping her seat. Our eyes can see in low-light conditions reasonably well, Jordan added. We have color vision, depth perception, and wide field of view. We can track movement easily, and we can throw objects with precision. Humans are one of the best throwing species on Earth. We can hit targets accurately at range. What about physical limitations? Professor Velthorn asked, voice strained. Surely humans have weaknesses? Of course, Jordan agreed. We are not very strong compared to other Earth predators. A chimpanzee is stronger than a human, despite being smaller. We do not have natural weapons like claws or fangs. Our skin is soft and damages easily. We are not very fast in short sprints. Some students looked relieved. Then Jordan continued, but we compensate with tools and intelligence. We create weapons. We plan ambushes. We work in groups with complex coordination. And when we are in immediate danger, our bodies have an emergency response. Emergency response? The professor asked. Yes, when humans face serious threats, our adrenal glands release hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. This causes immediate physical changes. Heart rate increases, blood pressure rises, airways open wider, muscles get more oxygen, pain sensitivity decreases. Decision-making accelerates. Blood flow redirects to critical areas. Jordan was just explaining human biology, but the lecture hall had gone completely silent. Basically, our bodies flood with combat drugs that increase strength, reduce pain, and sharpen focus. The effect lasts for the duration of the threat. Some humans have lifted cars off trapped people during adrenaline responses. Others have run on broken legs. The body ignores damage and focuses only on survival. "You are describing berserker biochemistry," a student whispered. Jordan did not hear that. "There are side effects after: fatigue, shaking, sometimes shock. But during the threat, humans can perform beyond normal limitations." Professor Velthorn stood frozen at the front of the room. Two of the professor's four hands were gripping the podium so hard the knuckles had turned white. "Let me make sure I understand," Velthorn said slowly. "Humans are pursuit predators with extreme endurance. You can track prey for days. You have regenerative healing. You have built-in chemical combat enhancement. You can coordinate in groups. You create and use tools. And you have resistance to pain during threats." "That is accurate," Jordan confirmed. "And you come from a world where, as you mentioned yesterday, there are hundreds of species of deadly predators, venomous creatures, and disease vectors." Jordan thought about yesterday's conversation with the study group. Had word spread? Yes, Earth has a lot of dangerous fauna. And humans became the dominant species despite all of that. Well, we are adaptable. We survived ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, droughts, floods. We spread to every continent. We learned to survive in deserts, jungles, tundra, mountains, islands. We ate everything, wore animal skins, built shelters, made fire. "Made fire?" Several students gasped. "Yes, we discovered how to create and control fire about 1 million years ago. We used it for warmth, cooking, tool-making, and defense." "You weaponized combustion," Velthorn said faintly. "I guess so. Fire keeps predators away. It also lets us cook food, which makes more nutrients available and kills parasites." A Nephil student near the back fled the room. Their gaseous form moved faster than Jordan had ever seen a Nephil move. "Professor, is something wrong?" Jordan asked. Velthorn sat down heavily in a chair that had been meant for guest speakers. The professor's scales had gone almost completely white. "You are describing an apex predator," the professor said quietly. "Pursuit hunting is apex predator behavior. Regeneration is apex predator adaptation. Combat biochemistry is apex predator physiology. Tool use combined with persistence is the most dangerous combination possible." "I do not understand," Jordan said honestly. "The creatures I showed you yesterday, the Dreadmaw, the Krell, the Razorbacks, they are terrifying because they are perfect hunters. Fast, strong, deadly. But they are simple. They rely on physical advantages." Velthorn looked up at Jordan with something like horror in his eyes. "Humans are not simple. You hunt by never stopping. You heal from injuries that would kill other species. You drug yourselves for combat. You think, plan, create, and coordinate. And you survived on a world that was actively trying to kill you for millions of years." The professor stood and walked to the console. Fingers moved across the controls. "I am sending an emergency query to the Galactic Council's Xenobiology Department," Velthorn announced. "Earth's threat classification needs immediate review." "Threat classification?" Jordan asked. "But we are peaceful. Earth joined the Council to share knowledge and culture." "You are peaceful now," Velthorn agreed. "In this moment, in this room. But your capacity for violence is—" The professor searched for words. "You are a species of pursuit predators with regeneration, pack tactics, tool use, and combat enhancement who became sapient while surviving one of the most hostile environments the galaxy has documented." Around the room, students were leaving, not running, but walking quickly toward the exits. Even the ones who stayed kept maximum distance from Jordan. The human stood alone in a circle of empty seats, confused and a little hurt. "Did I do something wrong?" Jordan asked quietly. Professor Velthorn looked at the human with an expression that was hard to read. Fear? Respect? Awe? Maybe all three. "No, Jordan," the professor said. "You did nothing wrong. You simply told the truth about your species. That is the problem." A message appeared on the professor's console. Velthorn read it, scales somehow going even paler. "The council is convening an emergency session," the professor announced to the remaining students. "They want to reevaluate Earth's classification immediately. This lecture is dismissed." Students filed out quickly. Jordan packed up slowly, still confused about what had just happened. The human had only described basic human abilities, things every person on Earth could do, things that seemed normal. Why was everyone so scared? Jordan left the lecture hall alone, walking through corridors that seemed to empty as the human approached. And back in the hall, Professor Velthorn stared at the console screen where Earth's preliminary classification blinked. Class 4, Deathworld. The professor began typing a new report. That classification, Velthorn knew, was about to change dramatically. Jordan arrived at the lecture hall early the next day, hoping to talk to some classmates before class started. But the hall was already full, and every student fell silent as the human entered. The empty circle around Jordan's usual seat had grown larger. Now there were 3 full rows of empty seats in all directions. The human sat down alone and tried not to feel hurt. Professor Velthorn entered with 2 other beings Jordan had never seen before. One wore the formal robes of a council official. The other had recording equipment floating around them, capturing everything. "Students," Velthorn announced, "today's lecture will be different. We have been contacted by the Galactic Council's Xenobiology Department. They have questions about Earth's classification. This lecture is being recorded for official review." A holographic screen appeared, showing a live connection to a conference room. Dozens of aliens sat around a curved table. Jordan recognized some of the species, but not others. "Let us begin," said a voice from the screen. The speaker was a tall being with purple skin and 6 eyes. "I am Council Member Treshvik. Professor Velthorn, please explain why you requested an emergency review." Velthorn gestured toward Jordan. "I have a human student in my xenobiology course. During lectures on Deathworld survival, this student revealed information that contradicts Earth's current classification." "Explain," Treshvik commanded. For the next 20 minutes, Velthorn summarized everything Jordan had said. The persistence hunting, the healing, the adrenaline response, the survival on a world filled with deadly creatures. The professor showed clips of Jordan's explanations, recorded by the classroom systems. The council members listened in growing silence. Several took notes, others just stared. When Velthorn finished, Treshvik spoke. "These claims seem exaggerated. Surely no Class 4 world produces such extreme adaptations." "That is why I requested this review," Velthorn said. "I believe Earth's classification was based on incomplete data." Another council member leaned forward. This one was crystalline, like a lumen's but larger. "I have the original survey report here. The team spent 3 months on Earth. They observed human cities, culture, and technology. They found humans to be peaceful, social, and non-threatening." "Where did they observe humans?" Velthorn asked. "Major cities, population centers, areas with high human concentration." "Did they observe humans in survival scenarios, in wilderness areas, facing actual threats?" The crystalline being checked the report. "No, they noted that human cities have eliminated most dangerous fauna. The team saw no evidence of predatory behavior." "That is the error," Velthorn said. "They observed humans in safe environments, environments that humans created by eliminating threats. They never saw what humans are capable of when threatened." Treshvik looked directly at Jordan through the screen. "Humans, student. Is Professor Velthorn's summary accurate? Can your species truly do these things?" Jordan stood up. Every eye in the lecture hall was watching. Yes, it is accurate. Those are normal human abilities. Normal? A council member asked in disbelief. Yes, any healthy human can do persistence hunting if trained. We all have adrenaline responses. We all heal from injuries. These are basic biology. The council members exchanged looks. Tell me about human recreation, Treshvik said suddenly. What do humans do for fun? Jordan was confused by the question, but answered honestly. Many things. Sports, games, art, music. Some humans like extreme sports. What are extreme sports? Activities that are dangerous but exciting. Skydiving, jumping from aircraft and falling before opening a parachute. Rock climbing without safety equipment. Case jumping off cliffs or buildings. Cave diving in underwater caverns. Surfing large waves. Skiing down mountains. The silence from the council chamber was total. You do these things for entertainment? Treshvik asked. You deliberately put yourselves in danger? Some humans do, yes. It is voluntary. We have safety measures, usually. A council member who looked like a floating collection of tentacles spoke up. What about human children? How do they play? Jordan thought that was an odd question too. Children play many ways. Tag, chasing each other. Hide and seek. Sports with balls. Building things. Pretend fighting. Pretend fighting? Yes, play wrestling. Martial arts practice. Video games where they simulate combat. It is how children learn physical skills and social boundaries. Your young practice combat for fun, the tentacled being said slowly. Well, it is not real combat, it is controlled. Parents supervise. Another council member pulled up something on their screen. I have data here about human dietary habits. It says humans consume toxins deliberately. Alcohol? Capsaicin? Oh yes, Jordan said. Alcohol is a depressant we drink socially. Capsaicin is the chemical that makes peppers spicy. Some humans enjoy very spicy food. These are poisons, the council member stated. Well, in large amounts, yes, but in small amounts they are just recreational. You recreationally consume poisons. When you say it like that, it sounds bad, Jordan protested. But humans have been drinking alcohol for thousands of years, and spicy food is delicious. The council chamber erupted in dozens of conversations at once. Treshvik had to call for order several times. When the noise died down, another member spoke. This one was covered in soft fur and had large, gentle eyes. Let us discuss human history. The survey report mentioned that humans have been peaceful for several decades now. Before that, Jordan hesitated. Well, human history has a lot of conflict. Please elaborate. There have been many wars throughout history. Humans fought each other for territory, resources, ideology, religion. The largest war ended about 80 years ago. It involved most nations on Earth and killed tens of millions of people. The lecture hall was completely silent now. Even the recording equipment seemed to stop humming. Tens of millions? The furry being repeated. Of your own species? Yes. There were two large wars in the 20th century. We used increasingly destructive weapons, explosives, chemical weapons, biological weapons. The Second War ended when we used nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons? Treshvik asked sharply. Are you saying humans have weaponized atomic fission? Yes, we developed it about 80 years ago. We have not used it in war since then, but several nations maintain nuclear arsenals for deterrence. The council chamber exploded again. This time it took longer to restore order. Treshvik looked directly at the camera. Human student, do you understand what you are saying? You are describing a species that fights itself with weapons of mass destruction. A species that has caused millions of deaths of its own kind. A species that consumes toxins, teaches children combat, and deliberately seeks danger for entertainment. When you list it like that, it sounds terrible, Jordan said quietly. But we have been peaceful for decades. We stopped the wars. We banned many weapons. We formed global organizations to prevent conflicts. We are trying to be better. Trying to be better, Treshvik repeated, implying you were worse before. Jordan did not know what to say to that. Another council member, this one reptilian, pulled up more data. I am looking at human anatomy now. Humans have forward-facing eyes, predator eyes. You have hands capable of fine manipulation, tool use. Your teeth include canines, tearing teeth. Your brain-to-body ratio is among the highest recorded, and you are bipedal, freeing your hands for weapons. You are built for hunting, another member added. Every physical feature is optimized for pursuit, predation, and tool use. But we are also intelligent, Jordan protested. We create art, music, literature. We build cities. We explore space. We are more than just predators. Yes, Treshvik agreed. You are predators who became sapient. That is what makes you terrifying. The word hung in the air. Terrifying. Jordan wanted to argue but did not know how. Everything the council said was true. Humans did all those things. But humans were also kind, creative, and curious. How could both things be true? Professor Velthorn spoke up. Council members, I have reviewed Earth's biological history. Humans are not the only dangerous species from that world. Humans are simply the ones who survived. Earth has been trying to kill its own life for millions of years. Ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, asteroid impacts, mass extinctions. The species that survived were the ones who could adapt to anything. And humans adapted better than anything else, Treshvik said. Yes, humans spread to every environment on Earth. Frozen Arctic, burning desert, high mountains, deep jungles, isolated islands. They learned to eat almost anything. They wore the skins of other animals. They made fire. They created tools. They formed complex social groups. They survived when thousands of other species went extinct. The crystalline council member spoke. I am looking at Earth's extinction data. Dozens of large predator species went extinct in the last 50,000 years. Megafauna, apex predators, all disappeared shortly after humans spread to their regions. Coincidence? Someone asked. No, humans hunted them. There is evidence of human hunting camps near mass kill sites. Humans did not just survive Earth's predators, they eliminated them. Jordan felt something cold in their stomach. The human had never thought about it that way before. But it was true. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, giant ground sloths, dire wolves, all gone. All disappeared after humans arrived. If it bleeds, we can kill it, Jordan whispered, remembering the old saying. What was that? Treshvik asked sharply. Nothing, just something humans say. Repeat it, Jordan spoke louder. If it bleeds, we can kill it. It is a human saying. It means that anything living can be defeated if we try hard enough. The council chamber had gone completely silent. That is your philosophy? Treshvik asked. That anything can be killed? It is just a saying, Jordan protested weakly, but the damage was done. The council members were talking among themselves again, voices urgent. Treshvik finally called for a vote. All in favor of reclassifying Earth as a high-level death world? Every hand, tentacle, appendage, and crystalline structure rose in agreement. Earth is hereby reclassified as a Class 9 death world, Treshvik announced. Not because of its environment, because of its dominant species. Humans are to be treated as apex predators with advanced intelligence, tool use, and organized warfare capabilities. All council members are to be notified immediately. The screen went dark. In the lecture hall, Jordan sat in a circle of empty seats, surrounded by students who were afraid. The human felt tears starting, but tried to hold them back. I am not a monster, Jordan said quietly. Professor Velthorn approached slowly, carefully. No, you are not, but you come from monsters, and you carry that legacy in your genes, your instincts, and your history. That is not evil. That is simply what you are. What do we do now? Jordan asked. Now, the professor said gently, we learn to understand each other. Fear is the beginning, not the end. But as Jordan looked around at the terrified faces of classmates, the human wondered if understanding would ever be possible. Class 9, Deathworld. The words echoed in Jordan's mind. Earth was not dangerous because of its environment. Earth was dangerous because of humans, and Jordan was human. The semester continued, but everything had changed. Jordan walked through campus alone now. When the human entered the cafeteria, conversation stopped. Students moved to different tables. Even professors seemed nervous, speaking to Jordan in careful, measured tones. The study group had dissolved completely. Kriach now sat on the opposite side of the lecture hall. Zex had transferred to a different section. Wisp through clouds avoided the garden dome entirely when Jordan was there. The human tried not to feel hurt, but it was impossible. Jordan had come to this university excited to learn about alien life, to make friends from other worlds, to be part of something bigger. Instead, everyone was afraid. Jordan ate lunch alone in the garden dome, watching other students laugh and talk in groups. The human's food tasted like nothing. Even the beauty of the alien plants seemed dull now. "Excuse me, may I sit here?" Jordan looked up, surprised. It was a Centaurian in professional robes, not a student. The being had 4 arms and wore the symbol of the university's counseling services. "I am Dr. Shenli," the Centaurian said, settling onto the bench at a careful distance. "I work with students who are having difficulties adjusting to university life." "Someone sent you to check on me?" Jordan said flatly. "Several professors expressed concern, yes, but I also wanted to speak with you personally." Dr. Shenli folded 2 hands while the other 2 held a datapad. "How are you feeling?" Jordan laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "How do you think I am feeling? Everyone is terrified of me. I eat alone. I study alone. Students leave rooms when I enter. All because I told the truth about human biology. You feel isolated." "I feel like a monster," Jordan said quietly. "That is what they think I am, right? A predator, a killer, something dangerous that should not be here." Dr. Shenli was quiet for a moment. "May I ask you something personal?" Jordan shrugged. "Why not? Do you enjoy hunting? Do you have urges to chase or harm others?" The question was asked carefully, clinically. Jordan looked at the counselor and felt suddenly tired. "No," the human said. "I am vegetarian. I have been since I was 15. I chose this university specifically because I wanted to study xenobiology. I think alien life is fascinating. I want to protect it, not hurt it." Dr. Shenli made a note. "Why did you become vegetarian?" "I learned about factory farming, about how animals are treated. It made me sad, so I stopped eating meat." Jordan looked down. "I cry at sad movies. I rescue insects instead of killing them. I donate to conservation organizations. Does that sound like a monster to you?" "No," Dr. Shenli said gently. "It sounds like someone who chooses compassion." "Then why is everyone afraid of me?" The counselor thought about how to answer. "Because you have the capacity for great violence. That capacity scares people, even if you never use it. They know what humans can do, what humans have done, and they worry about what you might do." "But I would never—" "I know, but they do not know. They only know what the classification says. Class 9 Deathworld, Apex Predator, Organized Warfare. Those words create fear." Jordan felt the tears starting again and tried to stop them. Failed. The human wiped eyes with a sleeve. Dr. Shenli moved slightly closer. "May I tell you something about my species?" Jordan nodded, not trusting words. "Centaurians evolved on a very gentle world. Class 1, minimal predators, abundant resources. We have never experienced anything like what humans have endured. We cannot imagine surviving what your species survived." 2 of Shenli's hands gestured expressively. That makes us afraid, but it also makes us curious. How did you survive? How did you become not just survivors, but philosophers, artists, explorers? I do not know, Jordan admitted. We just kept going. We did not give up. Exactly. And that persistence, that refusal to surrender, that is both terrifying and admirable. Jordan looked up. Admirable? Of course, your species faced extinction events, ice ages, predators, diseases, and you survived all of it. Then you looked at the stars and decided to reach them. That takes incredible courage. The human had never thought about it that way. Dr. Shenley stood. Give them time, Jordan. Fear is natural, but understanding can follow if you let it. The counselor left. Jordan sat alone again but felt slightly less empty. The next lecture was on Deathworld survival ethics. Jordan arrived expecting more distance, more silence. Instead, Professor Velthorn began with an unexpected topic. Today we discuss compassion, the professor announced. Specifically, why the most dangerous predators often develop the strongest capacity for empathy. Holograms appeared showing various species. Pack hunters who cared for injured members. Predators who adopted orphaned prey animals. Species that formed cross-species bonds. There is a pattern, Velthorn explained. Apex predators, especially social ones, develop complex emotional capabilities. They must to form pack structures, to coordinate hunts, to raise young cooperatively. Violence and compassion are not opposites. They are partners in survival. The professor showed examples from Earth. Wolves adopting orphaned puppies, orcas protecting injured pod members, lions forming strong family bonds, and humans rescuing animals from disaster zones, humans creating nature preserves, humans forming global organizations to protect endangered species, humans choosing to be vegetarian despite being evolved omnivores, humans crying at the suffering of creatures they had never met. Humans, Velthorn said, are not violent because they are cruel. They are capable of violence because they needed to survive. But they are also capable of tremendous compassion, loyalty, and self-sacrifice. These traits exist together. Jordan watched the holograms of humans helping animals, protecting nature, choosing peace. It was strange seeing human history from outside, strange seeing both the violence and the kindness displayed equally. The question, Velthorn continued, is not whether a species can be violent. Almost all species can, under the right circumstances. The question is whether they choose violence or peace when both options are available. The professor looked directly at Jordan. Humans have chosen peace with us. They applied to join the council peacefully. They share knowledge freely. They could be conquerors, but they choose to be students. That choice matters. Something shifted in the lecture hall. Students were listening differently now, looking at Jordan with new expressions. Not quite friendly, but less afraid. More curious. After class, Jordan gathered materials slowly, expecting another lonely walk back to the dormitory. Instead, there was a gentle sound like wind chimes. Wisp through clouds floated nearby, colors shifting nervously between blue and green. Jordan, the Nephil said quietly, "May I speak with you?" The human nodded, not trusting words yet. "I have been researching human culture," Wisp through clouds continued. "I watched videos, read literature, studied history, and I realized something. Humans have concepts that my species lacks. Mercy, redemption, the idea that someone can be more than their worst actions." "Okay," Jordan said carefully. "Your species fought terrible wars, killed millions, created weapons of mass destruction. But then you stopped. You formed the United Nations. You banned certain weapons. You created laws against genocide. You are trying to be better than you were." "We are trying," Jordan agreed. "That is what I missed before," the Nephil said. "I was afraid of what you can do, but I should have been impressed by what you choose not to do. You have the capacity for violence, but you build schools instead. You could dominate, but you seek friendship instead. That choice is brave. Jordan felt something warm in their chest. Thank you. Would you, would you be willing to restart our study group? I know I hurt you by leaving. I am sorry. Before Jordan could answer, Kriok approached, feathers smoothed down in a gesture of peace. I would also like to rejoin, if you will have me. Then Zex arrived, scales bright with determination. I spoke to my family. They reminded me that being civilized is not about being harmless. It is about choosing to do good, even when you could do harm. You choose good, Jordan. That is what matters. Jordan looked at the three former study partners and felt tears starting again. Happy tears this time. Yes, the human managed. Yes, I would like that. They found their old spot by the fountain. This time, no one moved away. They talked about the lecture, about the assignment, about normal student things. But there was something new, too. Honesty. Can I ask about human warfare? Kriok said hesitantly. I am curious, but I do not want to upset you. You can ask, Jordan said. Why did humans fight so much? What were the wars about? Jordan thought carefully. Many reasons. Resources when they were scarce. Territory for growing populations. Different beliefs about how to live. Fear of other groups. Sometimes there were no good reasons at all, just old hatreds continuing. Do you think humans will fight again? Wisp Through Clouds asked. I hope not. We learned how terrible war is. We saw the cost. Most humans do not want more violence. We want peace, cooperation, growth. But you could fight, Zick said, if you needed to. Yes, Jordan admitted. If we were threatened, we would defend ourselves. That is the truth. But we would try every peaceful option first. War is a last choice now, not a first one. The group was quiet, absorbing this. I think I understand now, Kriok said. You are dangerous, but that danger is controlled. Like a tool in a box. It exists, but you do not use it unless you must. That is a good way to put it, Jordan agreed. The semester continued. Slowly, carefully, other students began approaching Jordan. They had questions about Earth, about humans, about the things that scared them. Jordan answered honestly, never hiding the violence but always providing context. Humans hunted megafauna to extinction, but now humans work to protect endangered species and bring extinct species back through genetic science. Humans created nuclear weapons, but humans also created the international laws to control them and worked to reduce their numbers. Humans fought terrible wars, but humans also formed global peacekeeping organizations and international courts of justice. Both truths existed together. The capacity for destruction and the choice to create instead. For the final project, Jordan presented on human conservation efforts. The presentation showed humans risking their lives to save endangered animals, humans establishing national parks and nature preserves, humans working to clean oceans, restore forests, and protect biodiversity. The presentation ended with images of the International Space Station, where humans from different nations worked together in peace, where human curiosity and cooperation reached beyond the planet that had tried so hard to kill them. This is what humans chose, Jordan concluded. We looked at ourselves and our history and decided we wanted to be better. We wanted to protect instead of destroy, to learn instead of conquer, to befriend instead of dominate. We are not perfect. We still make mistakes, but we keep trying. The lecture hall was silent. Then slowly, students began making their species gestures of approval. Whistles, chimes, clicking sounds, and crystalline resonances filled the room. Professor Velthorn approached after class. That was an excellent presentation. Thank you, Professor. I wanted to apologize, Velthorn said. When I first learned the truth about humans, I let fear guide my response. I should have trusted that you were here for the right reasons. You were protecting your students, Jordan said. I understand. Still, I misjudged your species. You are dangerous, yes, but you are also curious, compassionate, and capable of tremendous growth. Those traits together make you remarkable. Frightening, perhaps, but remarkable. Jordan smiled. We are just trying to be better than we were. Is that not what civilization is about? Yes, Velthorn agreed. Yes, I think it is. As Jordan left the lecture hall, the study group was waiting in the corridor. They walked together to the garden dome, talking about their plans for the break, about the next semester's classes, about everything and nothing. Other students nodded greetings as they passed. Some even joined the conversation. The circle of emptiness around Jordan had filled with people, beings from a dozen worlds, all different, all learning to understand each other. In the garden dome, they found their usual spot by the fountain. Jordan unpacked lunch while the others did the same. Can I try some of your food? Kriach asked, pointing at Jordan's vegetable wrap. Sure, Jordan said, surprised. But it might be weird for you. Human spices. Kriach tried a small bite and made a sound of distress. It burns! Why does it burn? Oh, right, capsaicin. Sorry. Here, drink this. Jordan handed over water. The group laughed, friendly, warm laughter. Not at Kriach's distress, but at the silly moment, the cultural misunderstanding, the shared experience of trying something new. Humans eat poison for fun, Kriach gasped. You really are crazy. Maybe a little, Jordan admitted with a grin. They ate and talked and studied together. Just students, learning from each other, growing together. That evening, Jordan sent a message back to Earth. The human told family about the semester, about the fear and the understanding, about learning to bridge the gap between species. The message ended simply. They know what we are now, what we were and what we chose to become. It scared them, but they are giving us a chance. That is all we can ask for. Jordan looked out the window at the alien stars and felt something settle in their chest. Peace, maybe, or just acceptance. Humans were apex predators from a death world. That was true. They had fought, killed, and nearly destroyed themselves. Also true. But they had also chosen peace, chosen understanding, chosen to reach for the stars with open hands instead of closed fists. Both truths existed together, and maybe that was what made humans truly dangerous. Not their capacity for violence, but their capacity to choose something better despite everything their history had taught them. That choice, made new every single day, was what made them worthy of the stars. Jordan smiled and headed back to the dormitory, already planning tomorrow's study session with friends from across the galaxy. The human was not a monster. The human was just someone trying to be better. And in a galaxy full of different beings, all trying to understand each other, that was enough.